Isn't it ironic that we all like a good joke about a slut with herpes, but we're all that slut with herpes? Hey Tricks, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Kayden Unwrapped, my BB series. Of course, the BB part you're not going to find on here, but you can find it in the description below. I've been getting some really mixed feedback about these videos. While many of you understand what I'm trying to do, some people come at me on social media and go, Kayden, but you are a sexual health activist and now you're doing bareback? Doesn't this make you a hypocrite? No, because I've got my sexual health down to a T and I want to share this with other people. And of course, many people don't need it. But if you are someone who still believes in the promise that condoms will fully protect your health, you're not one of those people. So take a very deep breath. Take your fingers off the keyboard and open your mind, because condoms are not the only way to protect yourself from STIs and HIV. There is a number of really amazing tools which may be available where you are, and I just want to tell you about them after every vaccine of this series. So far, I've only talked about HIV prevention, but HIV is only one of many STIs, most of which you can catch even if you wear a condom. And they do not tell you that in health class, do they? All STIs are different, but you can pretty much divide them into two categories. Today, I'm going to give you a breakdown of the viral ones. I'm going to tell you how you can get them, what happens when you do get them, whether you can cure them or treat them, and how you can protect yourself against them as best as you can. I'm going to keep it brief, but you'll be able to read about every STI in more detail at the end of the video. I'm also going to tell you about my experience with these STIs, and I'll explain why getting a negative test result for any STI doesn't mean you're negative. So first up, we've got herpes. Many people think that herpes is passed through filthy, uninhibited, slutty whore sex. And I mean, yeah, but it's not the bodily fluids or blood that it's passed through. Herpes is actually so easy to catch, you can get it through touching or kissing someone. How come? When we say herpes, most of us think genital herpes, right? But that's only one type. There's another, even more common type of herpes, which we like to call the cold sore. They're not the same, but they're close. Fun fact, most of the herpes found on your dick or vagina or your ass is not actually genital herpes, it is the cold sore virus. And this is nuts because this is a virus which most of us get as kids when we are touching each other and playing with our friends and our families. And I don't just mean our uncles. Now, herpes show up as small, red, usually painful blisters around your mouth, lips, groin and ass area. There is no cure. You might think, okay, wear a condom, that will protect me. Most medical sources will support you in that, but they themselves know that it won't protect you because herpes is a skin virus. But there is good news. Breakouts are usually very rare, sometimes even a one-off. If you're unfortunate to get them more often, you can treat them with antiviral medication like acyclovir. And even better news is the fact that only 1 in 3 people break out with herpes, so you probably never know you have it. And if you think that you're getting tested for it in a sexual health clinic, you're wrong, bitch. Standardized testing does not cover herpes. Why waste resources on something that everyone's gonna get, most people will never know? Isn't it ironic that we all like a good joke about a slut with herpes, but we're all that slut with herpes? I have herpes, I've got 2 types, HSV1 and 2. But these days I don't actually get breakouts because I have acyclovir. I stuck it in my bedside table and I stopped dry wiping my asshole. Wet is kinder. Moving on to HPV. The story is super similar to herpes. It is also a virus which has many strains, and it's a skin virus, so you can get it through kissing or touching someone or having sex or whatever. The most common symptoms of HPV are warts. You have probably seen a wart, like a verruca or like a witch's wart. You can also have genital warts, which are a lot smaller and softer, but they're basically the same thing. HPV is another one there's no cure for, but most infections actually clear up within a couple of years. And if they don't and you end up with genital warts, you should be able to have them burnt off or frozen off at the sexual health clinic. But you probably won't see any warts, because similarly to herpes, HPV can be, and usually is, asymptomatic, and you won't be tested for it unless you have symptoms. But unlike herpes, HPV can be really dangerous, because the same way it changes your skin into a wart, it can create different tumors, and it may lead to cancer in your throat, or penile, anal, or cervical cancer. And again, condoms do fuck all to help, but there is a vaccine. It's safe and it's effective and it's available in many countries, so be sure to inquire and see if you can get it. HPV is believed to be the most common STI. Everyone has HPV, so of course I have HPV, but then so does your fucking mind. Next up, hepatitis. There are different types of hepatitis: A, B, C, D, and E. The first three are the most common. They're quite similar in some ways, but different in other ways, so I'm going to tell you about them separately. Hepatitis A can be transmitted through blood-to-blood contact, so for example, injecting and fucking. But most commonly you would catch it through, brace yourself, getting shit in your mouth. Most of us don't eat shit, but dirty hands, dirty food, or say a cock that you put in your mouth at a sex party that may have been in someone's ass at some point, they all qualify. Hep A can come with many symptoms, many of which can be quite unpleasant, but it can also be asymptomatic. There is no cure or specific treatment, but the great news is very few people develop liver disease. Most people clear hepatitis A and are immune for life. Most importantly, there's a vaccine for hepatitis A. If you can get it, you should definitely make sure that you do. As for my experience, I've never had it, and now I've been jabbed. Hepatitis B. You can get it through blood and fucking, and it can come with a multitude of pretty severe symptoms which last for quite a while. But again, it can be asymptomatic. In fact, most people who have hepatitis B never show any symptoms. If you have hepatitis B for more than a few months, eventually it becomes chronic, and it can lead to liver disease and even cancer, and there is no cure for it. But at the moment, the treatment is getting better and better, so similarly to HIV, you can actually lead a really good life if you have hepatitis B. Besides, when the infection is new, and this really surprised me, you can just get rid of it completely. No one ever told me that. Most people clear hepatitis B with lifelong immunity. But I mean, who wants to play the lottery? If you really don't want to ever get hepatitis B, don't just rely on luck or condoms. Make sure you get a hepatitis B vaccine. I did, and I'll never have hepatitis B. Next, we have hepatitis C, which you can get in many ways, including sharing needles, sharing toys, fisting, or from sharing straws for your, or of course condomless sex, although the risk is actually pretty low. As for symptoms, as it is with hepatitis, there can be many, and they can be quite unpleasant and last forever. But a lot of people don't know that they have hepatitis because it can be really asymptomatic. Some people clear hepatitis C. If you find out you've got hepatitis C early on, when it's acute or new, you can just get rid of it. Once it becomes chronic, that's not possible anymore. But these days, most people with hepatitis C actually enjoy normal lives and can have sex without passing it on. You can protect yourself from Hep C with condoms, although the protection is limited. And also cleaning your toys, if you share your toys, using condoms on your toys. And if you like a little bit of something, you need to have your own straw every time, and don't share it with anyone, because that's how a lot of people get hepatitis C. I mean it. One of the best ways you can protect yourself from hepatitis C is regular testing, because like I said, early testing and diagnosis make sure that you can just get rid of the infection. I had hepatitis C myself, and I cleared it before I was even diagnosed, so I didn't actually need any treatment, which was really lucky, because if you're living with HIV, it's less likely that you're going to clear Hep C. Now, this means I don't have the infection, but I do have the antibodies. If you know a little bit about COVID, you know that if you have and clear COVID, you have antibodies in your blood for about 6 months. So with hepatitis, it's similar, but they can last for a lot longer, that you can always have antibodies in your blood. It doesn't mean you have the infection, and it's not a problem, but it does mean that sometimes can blip, and I didn't know that until last year, just before UFU. We were getting ready to shoot, and about a week before that, I got a false positive. We had to move the whole shoot. I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a behind the scenes video for UFU, which I'll be posting soon. Last but not least, HIV. As many of you know, you can get HIV through blood or fucking, and although bottoming is more risky, if you think you can't get it as a top, you're a stupid hoe. Many people who catch HIV don't get any symptoms. If you do get symptoms, it usually feels like you have a flu. and then that goes away, and you can live many, many years and never having any more symptoms. But in that time, HIV messes up your immune system, making it harder and harder to fight different infections. In the end, it often leads to AIDS, but it's very important to say that HIV and AIDS are not the same thing. AIDS is just the latent last stage of an HIV infection that's been left untreated, and HIV is just a virus. A virus which, although you can't cure it, today you can treat so successfully that you can have a normal, long, healthy life, enjoy sex life, even without a condom, without passing HIV to other people. You can even have HIV negative kids if you want to. There are many ways you can protect yourself against HIV, 3 of which I covered in the previous episodes of Kayden Unwrapped. I live openly and proudly with HIV. I'm healthy and able to do bareback porn. But unfortunately, many people in the world still can't enjoy the privileges of being undetectable. And this is, if you ever wondered, the reason why I made sexual well-being awareness part of my bareback era, at least for now. Recently, someone asked me if I'm going to include another infection in one of my videos. It's called HTLV. I wasn't sure because I've never had it, never heard about anyone who has it. As far as I checked, no European STI clinics test for it. And that's because it's not prevalent in Europe. But it is prevalent in some areas. It may apply to you, so be sure to look at the more detailed info at the end of the video. And that's it for viral STIs. Earlier, I mentioned that testing negative for any STI doesn't mean you are negative on the day. And that is because it takes time for an STI, for any infection, to grow in your body until a test can see it. And that's called a window period. Every STI has one, and it's different for every STI, and you can check the window period for each STI at the end of the video as well. And if you do end up catching an STI that you can't cure, don't be sad, because these days you can pretty much treat anything. Besides, clean, although a cute idea, it doesn't actually exist. It's not real. We're all just a little bit riddled with this or that. Most of us are just blissfully unaware. Thanks for tuning in. Next time we'll go bacterial. If you missed any episodes, check the description where you can also find a link to full Kayden Unwrapped videos. And if you want to make sure that you join me next time, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks.